Hi everybody, I'm Andrew Rice and welcome to the show Adventures in Golf, the show where we strive to limit the amount of adventure you encounter out on the golf course. This week we're looking at ball striking, and I believe ball striking to be a product of a great impact position. I wanted to show you a couple of pointers as far as impact goes, and then I'm going to give you some great drills and exercises to help with your ball striking when you're out on the golf course. Let's take a look at impact. I found that the top players in golf have a lot in common as they get into the impact position, and here they are. The weight is comfortably up on the front foot, the head is positioned over or slightly behind the golf ball, the hands lead the club head into the hit, and as a result there's a descending or downward hit on the golf ball. Evidence shows us that whether it be with wedges or woods, all the top players in the game are actually hitting down on the golf ball. Watch this show and I'll show you how to get into that great impact position and start to strike the ball that much better. I think you'll enjoy it. This really is one of my favorite ball striking exercises. All I've got here is a very simple towel. As you can tell that I've laid down on the ground at right angles to my target angle. I've folded it up to create a little bit of elevation. And now I've put a line of golf balls. You may need to experiment with the distance between the golf balls and the towel that you've laid on the ground to get a feel for what works for you. But ideally I like to shoot for about a foot. That all depends on how thick you've made your towel. Because what this drill is all about is really getting into that great impact position and hitting down on the golf ball. Something all great ball strikers do. The way it works is this. You're going to take a 7 or an 8 iron, set up as you normally would, and just try to hit some little punchy type shots where you feel the club is actually coming in on a descending track into the back of the golf ball. When you hit these shots, you should notice that you're going to hit ball first, ground second, just like this. I think that might help that ball striking. You know, I found in golf, there are lots of ways to swing the club, but really only one way to hit the ball properly. If you're hitting the ball properly, you must be getting your body into a good impact position. And if your body's working correctly, your feet must be working correctly too. Here's a neat little exercise that I came up with, really directed towards footwork throughout the swing, that should indicate to you whether you're getting into a good impact position or not. Here's how it works. Using a 7 or an 8 iron, once again, you're going to set up as you normally would, and just taking a bottle of water, put it up against the outside of your back heel so that it's flush up against your heel. Now, setting up, you're going to go ahead and hit the shot. If you get yourself into a good impact position, you'll notice your weight goes forward. This back foot actually seems to bank to the inside of the foot and then roll up without knocking the bottle of water over. If your body is not working properly and your weight's hanging back or your hips are spinning a little too soon, that'll start to happen. If the hips spin, the heel goes back, it knocks the bottle over. That's a neat exercise that'll help you get some feedback and become more aware of where you need to be at impact. Let's take a look and see if we can improve our impact at pitching. I know of no part of the game where the strike is more important than pitching and chipping around the greens. If you can strike the ball correctly, the ball will carry the right distance, it'll run out the right distance, and we'll start to hit some great shots around the green. So here, more than anywhere else, I think the strike is very, very important. Here's how we're going to go about it. I think the setup is important. I think it's important to understand how to use the bounce of the club. In the 50s, Gene Sarazen invented the bounce, and really this setup I'm going to show you is something that will enable you to start to use the bounce should you make a mistake. Nobody's perfect. I know out here, certainly I'm not perfect, and I don't think any of you are either. So we could all use a little help. Here's how we can get it. With the setup, we're going to set up with the ball in the center of our stance. Our feet are about a club head width apart. The weight should be slightly favoring our front foot. The one thing I don't want to see is a setup with the ball too far back, the weight and hands too far forward. What that does is that it eliminates any bounce the manufacturer might have built into the sole of the club. So with this setup, we've just got a slight amount of shaft lean. The weight is just a little on the front foot. And as we hit the shot, we're going to try to ensure that we don't create a lot of lag here. We're going to make sure that there's a hint of wrist set, and then we're just going to rotate all the way through. That will ensure that should we perhaps catch the ground slightly before the ball, the bounce is going to help us out, and that club's not going to dig. It's going to glide along the turf. Let's take a look. So set up there, very simple little motion. That's all we're looking for. And don't be afraid to pitch with your pitching wedge. Novel idea. Give it a try. There we have it, folks. That's our show for the week. Hope you've enjoyed watching. It's really been a veritable extravaganza of ball striking. I do know this, that if you can learn to put the club more squarely onto the back of the ball with a slightly descending blow, you're going to hit better shots. You're going to enjoy your time out here on the golf course that much more. Keep in mind, there are lots of ways to swing, but really only one way to hit. Learn how to hit, and you'll have some more fun out on the golf course. Join us next week where I'll show you how to hit longer irons by taking one extra club. Hope you've had fun. See you next week. Thanks. Hip slide, hip drive, weight shift, whatever we want to call it, is really one of the most important parts of the golf swing, and here's why. What it does is, if you get to the top of your backswing and you're in a good position, and you rotate your hips, look what happens to the arms. It really carries the club and the arms out over the top, leading to a downswing where the club gets away from you, and you've now got to swing across your body to get the club head to intersect with the ball. Whereas, if I get to the top and I shift my weight, I drive and glide my hips up over to my front side, now my arms and the club drop down to the inside. That hip slide right there is so important. It gets the plane right, it gets your weight up on your front foot, allows you to hit the ball from the inside with a descending blow. I think that'll help. Give it a try.